Hello and welcome to the OriginMD channel. I've been trying to make Muldrotha work for the longest of times in Magic the Gathering Arena, and finally Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, came up with the Muldrotha deck that I think is definitely workable in our metagame. This is my take on the deck. First of all, we want as much removal as possible against aggressive decks, so Vicious Offering and Vraska's Contempt is probably a must in this deck if you want to play it. We have value creatures such as Chupacabras and Thrashing Brontodons that allow us to deal with other creatures on the board and enchantments, and we have other value creatures that we're going to discuss in more detail. We reanimate them again and again with our Journey to Eternity and our Muldrotha, the namesake of the deck. And as finishers, we just overwhelm our opponent with our planeswalkers, creatures, and take over the game completely. The deck is quite grindy, it takes long to finish the games, and I wouldn't say that I would take this to the quick constructed for long. This is not the new top tier deck, but it's quite fun to play, and I had enjoyed it, so let's discuss each card in more detail. For the 1-drops we have the Llanowar Elves that allow us to ramp up as soon as possible and also provide some bodies that can either chump block and give us some time or even threaten some of the controllers. We have the Siren Stormtamer that allows us to sacrifice it to counter a spell or an ability that targets us or a creature, so this can be used to save our Muldrotha if we play it out, or it can be used to prevent something like Settle the Wreckage that targets us. For the 2-drops, we have some card draw enablers, so we have the Dusk Zealot as a 2-off. When it enters the battlefield, we draw a card and lose 1 life, but losing too much life is not really good in this meta, so we have 4 Branchwalkers that enter the battlefield and explore, and in the case that we find a land, we're going to draw it. Then we have our removal that is very sorely needed in this meta. We have the Cast Down that destroys target non-legendary creature, and we have the Vicious Offering that gives a creature -2/-2 until the end of turn, and if we sacrifice a creature it gives -5/-5. And this is going to be important for us because if our opponent is going to have spells that exile our key creatures, we want to use the Vicious Offering to sacrifice the creature and prevent this. Next up, we have the Banewhip Punisher. When it enters the battlefield, we put a -1 counter on a creature, and if we sacrifice the Banewhip Punisher, we destroy this creature that has a -1 counter on it. And this is going to be quite useful for us. Essentially, it's like a Chupacabra, but it can be played 1 turn earlier. And it can also be sacrificed should we need to. I'm playing 2 Thrashing Brontodons because I see quite a lot of enchantments, and overall just 3/4 for 3 mana is going to be extremely useful. Its sacrifice ability is also going to be important. Next up we have the Benefaction of Rhonas, and for 3 mana we can reveal the top 5 cards in our library, and then we select a creature or enchantment to put into our hand, and the rest goes into the graveyard, so we can populate our graveyard for our reanimation. We've got the Journey to Eternity. It enchants a creature, and when it dies, then we transform it into the Cave of Eternity that allows us to pay 5 and tap it to return a creature from our graveyard to the battlefield. So that means that we are able to get our Thrashing Brontodons and Chupacabras back into the game at instant speed, and that is going to be extremely useful to us. We have the Orazca Relic. It allows us to add 1 colorless to our mana pool, but most importantly we're going to be getting quite a lot of lands if we are to survive. That means that we'll be able to get Ascend, and we can sacrifice the Orazca Relic to gain 3 life and draw an additional card, and by using our Muldrotha we can bring it back again and again. So this is also an important piece for us because that is the only artifact we actually have in the deck. Next up we have the Ravenous Chupacabra. When it enters the battlefield, it destroys a target creature our opponent controls. So that is extremely useful to us since we can recycle it again and again. We have the Phyrexian Scriptures, because this is our removal spell if we are in a board stall. It also puts a 1/1 counter on one creature and makes it an artifact, so we can save our Muldrotha, for example, wipe the board, and then get back everything if we have enough mana. Also importantly, it exiles all the cards in all opponents' graveyards, and some graveyard strategies do see quite a lot of popular play on the latter at the moment. We have 2 of Vraska's Contempt, self-explanatory. At instant speed we exile a creature or a planeswalker and gain 2 life to boot, so definitely want this against Scarab Guards, Hazarets and other creatures that are difficult to move or come back from the graveyard to the game. We have Khan as a one-off, simply because I only have one. It's a planeswalker, so that counts as an additional type that our Muldrotha can bring back to the field. It also allows us to draw some additional cards. Just one of the better cards in Standard right now, also one of the most expensive ones. Good to see it in this deck as well. Liliana Death's Majesty is a planeswalker that allows us to do some interesting plays because it can also reanimate creatures. So if, for example, our Muldrotha is going to get killed but not exiled, apart from Journey to Eternity, we also have Liliana. And if we have Muldrotha in play, then we can get Liliana back, since it's a separate type from the other ones. It's a planeswalker, except for Khan. Overall, just really good for us. Can also ultimate to destroy all non-zombie creatures. Had some really nice games with her. We also have the Mending of Dominaria. It also enables us to populate our graveyard and to return some creature cards from our graveyard to our hand. And this enables us to shuffle back our graveyard into the library. Although we don't see too many mill decks, sometimes the green games do go for too long, and then it's quite useful. We have Never to Return, so we can destroy a creature or a planeswalker at sorcery speed, and then we can exile a card from a graveyard and create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So as a one-off, this is a card that I'm willing to play. We have 2 Muldrotha, the main enabler and the finisher of this deck, because each turn we can play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from our graveyard. And if Muldrotha stays on the board for long enough, it is extremely difficult for our opponent to deal with this. We also have 2 Torgaars, Famine and Incarnate, that allows us to sacrifice the creatures we have to get a discount of 2 colorless less for each creature sacrificed this way. And it allows us to set our opponent's or our own life total to 10, which can also be quite relevant. Now on to the mana base. I have just 24 cards in this deck. I have 2 basic islands, 1 Memorial to Genius to allow us to draw 2 cards from time to time, 1 Memorial to Folly that we can sacrifice to return a creature card from our graveyard to our hand, especially if some of the key creatures had been counted and we still don't have our reanimator in. We have 3 basic swamps, 4 basic forests, 2 submerged boneyards because I don't have the dual lands that come into play untapped. We have 3 Fall Orchard, 1 Woodland Cemetery, 2 Hinterland Harbor, 4 Evolving Wilds, and finally we have a Field of Ruin to enable us to deal with some problematic lands that transform for our opponents. Now that we've discussed the deck, let's play. Our opponent goes first. We've got an Evolving Wilds that we can get the Llanowar Elves with, so let's keep this hand. Alright, Ramen up red coming up. Double red. Okay. Let's get our green. Non-creature spell. Right. Let's go ahead and fire the Branchwalker first. Okay. Hinterland Harbor, not too bad. Our opponent likely has a lot of non-creature spells. So our Branchwalker is going to eat removal. More than likely. Okay, here comes the Abrade. So we're going to take 3 damage from the attack and the Abrade. Alright, I think I'm fine with going for the Hinterland Harbor, Branchwalker and Llanowar Elves. Let's put this on the library. It seems like our opponent has creatures as well. We have just 1 black mana source. Yep. So gonna need to use the Evolving Wilds to get ourselves a swamp. Let's see if our opponent has a combat trick. No? Okay. This also works. We are not in a hurry. Get ourselves a swamp. Alright, a Rampaging Ferocidon. Go to our turn. So we can go for Banewhip Punisher. Or just a Chupacabra. Yep, I don't hate it. Let's just go for the Chupacabra, eat the Ferocidon. And it looks like we have somewhat stabilized. And we can also sacrifice the Chupacabra to the Vicious Offering. If our opponent has something like a Hazoret. Okay. Trial of Zeal. That's okay. Let's go for Liliana. Use her +1 ability. Let's see what is in our graveyard. Alright, we can bring back Muldrotha from the graveyard if we have 3 loyalty, so that is definitely going to be pretty nice if our opponent gives us the chance, because if he has more problematic spells, that's going to be a problem. However, if it's just 2 damage to Liliana, that's okay. So I just have to wait and see if he has something like a Lightning Strike. Nope. Okay. So let's just get our Muldrotha. So we can cast a land. Then we can get ourselves a creature. What kind of creature do we want? Well, we can get the Ravenous Chupacabra, but I think I'm fine with just a Merfolk Branchwalker and Khan. So let's +1 Khan. Our opponent has to select one of the 2 cards that is going to be exiled, and the other one goes into our hand. Okay, we got ourselves the Mending of Dominaria. So let's sacrifice the Evolving Wilds. Which land do we want? Let's take an island. And I think I'm not going to be attacking. Just going to chill back and try to protect the Planeswalkers, though we can cast them again with Muldrotha. In any case, we have stabilized quite nicely, I believe. Okay, Hazoret is also fine, since we can just chump block it. And we also have Vraska's Contempt and Vicious Offering that we can use. So essentially, the Vicious Offering, if it's kicked, it gives -5/-5. So we can sacrifice the zombie token, for example. So let's just do that. Target a creature. Sacrifice this creature. Okay. +1 Liliana. Did we get anything really good here? Let's see, we can get a land and a creature. In terms of creatures, draw another card. Always good to have that. +1 card. Let our opponent select. Okay. Alright, I think we can take out the Banewhip Punisher and get rid of Orazca Relic. Yep, let's put a -1 counter. Attack our opponent for 8, and we have enough creatures here to block if our opponent eternalizes the Orazca Relic to protect our planeswalkers. Let's see, we can get the Scriptures and the Benefaction should we want to. But since our opponent doesn't have any graveyard shenanigans apart from Kenra, I just don't see our opponent winning. We have already stabilized quite nicely, I believe. Fanatical Firebrand, alright. And another Hazoret. Okay, our opponent can attack with Hazoret this turn, so yeah, there's this thing called Vraska's Contempt. +1 Liliana. And it's our victory. Our opponent goes first. We've got the colors that we need, so I think we're going to keep this hand. So probably turn 1 Fall Orchard, and turn 2 Swamp and Branchwalker. Our opponent shows just the Swamp, so double Swamps and a Kitesail Freebooter. Okay. He's going to take Cast Down, most likely. So we won't be able to get rid of the Kitesail Freebooter this way. But we have the Chupacabra that we can use, so I think I'm going to go for the Branchwalker. Okay. Will we be able to cast it if we have 2 creatures in play? So we've got -4 for 4 mana. Okay, let's keep it in the library. Alright, triple black. Will our opponent have Divest or some other targeted discard to take out our Ravenous Chupacabra? Alright, has a Doomfall, so Chupacabra is going to get discarded. Attacks for 1. As for us, we have the Llanowar Elves and the Walling Wilds. So we have double black, no double green. Let's get ourselves some green. We have the double black, yeah? Yep. No need for an island for now. And attack our opponent for 3. Let's see if our opponent has more discard effects. Okay, Moment of Craving. Attacks for 1. We've got the Llanowar Elves. Attack our opponent for 3. Let's see. Okay, has lots of moments of cravings. So, do we go for the Benefaction? I think we do. Let's have a look at what we can get back. And another Merfolk Branchwalker is good enough. Okay. Let's put Liliana on the library. And attack our opponent for 1. See if our opponent will remove the creatures. Alright. Okay, I think it's better to play out Liliana and just create the token with the zombies. Okay. We won't be attacking in case our opponent has removal, because he can pump his Dread Shade and give it +6/+6. We need to get rid of the Kite Sail Freebooter to get our cast down. Alright, Ravenous Chupacabra takes out the Branchwalker. So we're going to chump block the Dread Shade. Okay, not even attacking Liliana. That's fine. Fortunately, our Chupacabra is exiled. So, do we have any creatures that we want to resurrect that will be able to help us? I think we just create another token.
Oh, look what I found.
All right. So here we can either go for the Arch of Orazca, or we can sacrifice 2 of those creatures, but if our opponent has another removal spell, this is going to be really painful for us, because he can pump his Dread Shade to insane amounts. So we're not going to be attacking, just going to play out the relic and keep it as it is. Okay, that was quite questionable, I would say. Our opponent attacking like this. Because we can use the ultimate of our Liliana, and we get back our cast down. Let's use this. Alright, we get back our cast down. Hopefully we'll get our Muldrotha sooner or later to allow us to get back our Planeswalkers. Cast down didn't last for too long, so I think we're just going to play out the Benefaction of Rhonas. Alright. Lots of lands in our graveyard now, and unfortunately 2 Vraska's Contempt have also hit the deck. Okay, a Doomfall from the opponent. Really going hard on the discard theme. Well, sooner or later the Doomfalls are going to run out. Okay, Memorial of Fall is good, because we can get back one of our creatures from the graveyard to our hand. So which creature are we going to get? divest from the opponent so he'll take out one of our creatures. Torgaar perhaps. We can get a Brontodon or a Branchwalker. We could get Torgaar out as well. How much mana do we have? We have 7 mana. And we're going to sacrifice the Memorial as well. And get back a creature. I think I'm fine with getting a Branchwalker because we can play it and explore straight away. Okay. Not a bad spell for us to have against the mono black control deck. Our opponent has 7 mana, so we can expect a Cruel Reality at some point. Alright, let's go ahead and attack. End the turn. Do we have many islands here? We have 1 island, so we have 1 more in our deck. Our turn. Alright, Field of Ruin. Let's go ahead and continue the attack. 10 lands. Will this be something scary? Okay, we've got the Muldrotha, but we don't have the blue mana. So that is quite unfortunate for us. And I don't know if our opponent has more targeted discards. Has 1 Doomfall, 2 Doomfalls. The rest has been used. Okay. Our opponent is at 10, probably has removal spell. Alright. Okay. So we can use the Vicious Offering or Dusk Legion Zealot, but I think that would be a waste. So let's just go to our turn. We finally get our Evolving Wilds so we can get ourselves the island that we need. Next up, we can go ahead and get rid of the Belson Lock. And we have 4 mana so that we can get rid of it since we only have interaction with our own graveyard. So let's look at the opponent's graveyard. I think that Doomfall is the biggest and baddest thing that our opponent has, so just going to remove it. Okay, Chump blocks our Branchwalker and can use the Golden Demise this turn. If he uses the Chupacabra, it will be even better for us, because we need to save our Muldrotha some way. Okay, instead our opponent opts for Golden Demise. So first of all, we're going to be playing out the Siren Stormtamer. And then we're going to go to our opponent's turn. Perhaps even sacrificing the Orazca Relic to draw into an additional card. Alright. Destroys the Siren Stormtamer. So we are going to sacrifice the Orazca Relic, draw an additional card. It's going to be a land. Our opponent has 7 more mana. Alright. Trespass's Curse is completely fine. Our opponent has just 1 card, so We can play it safe. We can play the Banewhip Punisher and get rid of the Chupacabra. Alright. Do we sack it? Yeah, I'd say let's sack it. Also, if our opponent plays the Cabal Stronghold, we'll be able to take it out with the Field of Ruin. So there is this. Let's go ahead and play out the Thrashing Brontodon, as well as the Dusk Legion Zealot, to draw an additional card, and wait for our opponent to remove all the cards and waste his removal. Alright, this also works. I don't mind him leeching one more with the Trespasser's Curse. Still going to be fine. Okay. Affects only our graveyard. Alright. And the turn. Okay. Gold demise number 1. That's fine. Moment of Craving. Against this we're going to destroy the Trespasser's Curse, so that our opponent doesn't gain 2 life as well. Dreadshade from the opponent. Alright. Let's see if we can get something decent here. If our opponent pumps the Dreadshade, we are dead next turn. So I think we have to risk it and go for Muldrotha, and then play out another creature that is going to chump block the Dreadshade. I hope that our opponent doesn't get the removal. So I guess that's the only play we have. So let's get ourselves a land. Get ourselves another forest. What we actually can do is just get ourselves an enchantment and just have the Journey to Eternity back, but I'm just thinking this won't work. Let's get ourselves a creature. Question is which one? I think that another... Oh, actually we have the Banewhip Punisher. But we don't have 1 more mana to activate it properly. Let's get the Merfolk Branchwalker then. Okay. So now the question is, does our opponent have removal? If he does have removal for the Muldrotha, then the game is pretty much over. Or for the Branchwalker. Okay, spends 1 black. Divest. Alright, that's completely fine because we have no creature cards in our hand. And I think the game is now safely within the reach of winnable for us right now. Alright. We're going to chump block with the Branchwalker. Get the Banewhip Punisher in play. So the creature is going to be the Punisher. We're going to put a minus counter on the Dreadshade. Sacrifice the Punisher to get rid of the Dreadshade. Pumping the Dreadshade is not going to do anything, because it destroys a creature with a -1 counter, so it doesn't matter. Then next up, we are going to get ourselves a Planeswalker. Let's get ourselves a Liliana back. Let's use Liliana's ability to create a token and to populate the graveyard. Attack our opponent for 6. And we already played a land, so we were not able to use Muldrotha's ability. Okay, this looks like it's game. Alright, our opponent goes first. Let's keep this hand. We've got the Merfolk Branchwalkers that hopefully will be able to stem the aggression of our opponent, and a cast down is a decent card to have. Phyrexian Scriptures might also be pretty good against our opponent. So let's see if we can get some lands here, and a full orchard is definitely not bad. Okay. Alright. That's a pretty powerful start. So let's go to our opponent's turn, and if our opponent has any more tricks, we're going to use cast down, or we're going to use cast down in any case, I think. From graveyard to hand. Alright. Since it's a zombie, let's see if our opponent is going to attack and use it. Okay, let's use the scriptures. So if he eternalizes his Adorn Pouncer or not, we're still going to destroy them and to clear out the library. So just going to hit us for 4. And we're down to 7. So let's see if our opponent has a removal for the... this. He's going to get back his... eternalize his Adorn Pouncer. That much is for sure. Let's get at least one... oh no, actually we're just going to say go for our opponent, since we have Vraska's Contempt that we can cast at instant speed. Okay, let's go for the Banewhip Punisher. Put a -1 counter and sacrifice him to get rid of the Adorn Pouncer. Alright. Wriggle Caracal. And after this we still have Vraska's Contempt. So let's go to our opponent's turn. Okay, cast out on the Branchwalker. Attacks with everything. With Vraska's Contempt the Caracal. anoint a priest from the opponent. So let's go for the Benefaction. Okay. Just going to get some cheap creatures, and our Khan is in the graveyard. We do have return that we can use to exile the Anointed Priest, but I'm not sure we're going to survive, because our opponent is likely going... Alright, he does have the unconventional tactics, so cycles away Desert of the True. Conventional tactics are here. I think we'll go for it like that. Okay, so let's go for the Submerged Boneyard. We've got return that we are going to use on our opponent's Anointed Priest to create a token. And we're going to use Cast Down on the cat token right here. Hopefully we can get the Muldrotha to be able to actually play the game further. Otherwise we are just going to lose. Okay, an Anointed Priest. Oh, come on. Right, finally. Let's see what we can do here. Probably want the Banewhip Punisher for sure, to get rid of the Anointed Priest. What else do we want? Orazca Relic sounds very good as well, but we've only got 4 mana, so let's see if we can get the land first. Let's get the full orchard. Okay, now for 4 mana we're going to get a creature. We're going to get the Banewhip Punisher. Let's put a -1 count right here, get rid of this token, and I think we're not going to do anything else. So if our opponent has removed for the Muldrotha, then we're pretty much done. Or if he has something like unconventional tactics that keep flying, Yep. Isn't that just too bad?
Our actions determine who may regret that choice.
And last of all, the scriptures. No attacks. So our opponent shouldn't have something to bring back the unconventional tactics. But okay. So now he does. So in our case we can get rid of his Oketra's Monument. Let's see, what do we have here? I think I don't mind just sacrificing and getting rid of the monument first, and then just recasting it. Cast as creature, the Brontodon. Okay. And I think I'm not going to be attacking. Just going to say go. In case our opponent has a seal away. Okay, eternalizes the Pouncer. Brings back the unconventional tactics. Our turn. So we've got 3 cards here and the silver counter only on Muldrotha, right? We need to get rid of his unconventional tactics somehow.
I'll make use of that later.
Fortunately, we weren't able to get any of our removal. So I'm guessing we have to get rid of the Pouncer here. Let's get our Banewhip Punisher. Put a -1 counter on the creature. Get rid of it. Play out the Thrashing Brontodon. Get ourselves an Orazca. Gain some life and draw a card. Play out the Llanowar Elves and attack with the Branchwalker. Okay. Opponent has a Sacred Cat. That's fine. Cartouche of Solidarity is also okay. We've got the Banewhip Punisher that we can use again and again. So we can get another Muldrotha, actually, if we would want to do so. Because it's exiled with our opponents. Because it is exiled with Khan's silver ability. So what I'm thinking right now is that if our opponent has 4, it is unlikely that he has anything significantly bad for us. Let's see, what kind of enchantments do we have? Just the Scriptures. Do we want to use it? Probably not. Let's go ahead and attack with everything we have. Except for maybe the Llanowar Elves. Deal the damage. Next up, we need to cast the artifact and gain life so that we don't die to the conventional tactics. Alright, Orazca's Contempt is good, so let's use +1 Khan's ability. We're still going to be alive. And end the turn. Opponent attacks to the face. So we're going to use Orazca's Contempt. Okay, our opponent then bounds the Sacred Cat, returns the unconventional tactics to his hand. We're going to start to bring back the cards with the silver counters. So let's take the Mending of Dominaria, since we already have very few lands here, very few cards left in our library. Play out the forest, get ourselves the Banewhip Punisher. Yep, we're going to get rid of it. Let's see, we have an enchantment. Yeah, we have this enchantment, Mending of Dominaria. We return a card to our hand, so let's return a Siren Stormtamer, because if our opponent has something like Settle the Wreckage, then we can still survive it. So let's end the turn. And it looks like our victory is set. Angel of Sanctions, that's fine. We're going to sacrifice the Siren Stormtamer in response. Submit. Okay. What are we going to get back? Let's get a Ravenous Chupacabra. Ravenous Chupacabra, the Angel of Sanctions. Get back... Wow. Anyway, it was a very nice game. Okay, our opponent is going first. We've got Llanowar Elves and the Walling Wilds to be able to cast the Journey of Eternity. Let's keep this hand. Okay, our opponent mulligans to 5. Keeps the hand, so might be an aggressive deck. Okay. Instead it's going to be blue and white, so might be a token deck or a control deck. Let's get ourselves a green mana source. Alright. Another Whirling Wilds. Let's see if our opponent has any removal for the Llanowar Elves. I think that getting a double black is going to be important. So, I think I'm fine with going for a Branchwalker, see if our opponent is going to counter it, although that is quite unlikely. And then casting another Llanowar Elf. Solve it anytime soon, but let's keep it on the library. Okay. 2 blue tapped. Merfolk Trickster. Alright, so it was a good call not to attack with Llanowar Elves, since they would have just been blocked by a Trickster. So this is likely Azorius Historic. He's going to exile the Branchwalker, that's fine. Has 2 cards, and the question is, does our opponent have a counter spell? We are definitely going to let him attack. But now the thing is, does our opponent have an Essence Scatter? That is the question. Let's say let's go for it anyway. Then we can use the Journey to Eternity to bring back Muldrotha. If our opponent counters it. No. Okay. We are not able to use Muldrotha's ability because currently we have already cast a land this turn. Okay. A Merfolk Trickster. Let's see if our opponent has another Seal Away. Nope. Okay. So I think I'm willing to use Muldrotha's ability to play the Whirling Wilds. Get ourselves a green mana source. We can go for the Journey to Eternity. Our opponent had tapped down Muldrotha, so I'm quite sure that he doesn't have another Seal Away. Still, we're just going to be playing it defensively. And I think I'm just going to not attack. We could go for one Journey of Eternity on the other Llanowar Elf. Nope. And then we can use the Vicious Offering with a kicker cost to enable the Journey to Eternity. It gets countered. Excellent. That is good news for us, since we can just cast this enchantment again. Yep. Okay, Lyra Dawnbringer, a good target for our Vicious Offering. So let's just go for it. Okay, here you go. We get a transformed land. Get rid of our opponent's creature, so we can get another Evolving Wilds. Thin out our deck a little bit more. If we sacrifice those two, then this is going to cost us 2 less for each. So -4 for exactly, right? Sacrifice those 2 creatures. Go. Okay, no attacks. Alright, it's our victory. I'd like to thank you for watching and see you in the next video.